Alright, what is going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC Vegas 59, I believe it is. This one is the co-main event at welterweight. We got Vicente Luque taking on Geoff Neal. Absolutely awesome fight here. They're about even on reach, and they're the same height. So I'll start with Geoff Neal, I guess. So, fighting out of Fortis MMA, so very good gym, in my opinion, and low-key gym. Let's say it's a low-key gym. But yeah, this is a guy who I've definitely overlooked in the past. I think he's very good, but he's got some good wins in the UFC for sure. He was very highly regarded going into that fight with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, which I believe was a main event. Let me see if that was a main event or not. Yeah, that was a main event. And yeah, he kind of gets outclassed in that one. I mean, most people do in a striking matchup with Wonderboy, but he was on a great winning streak heading into that. It was 5 or 6 wins straight. Yes, 5 wins straight in the UFC, and 6 if we're counting the Contender Series. And he took out some good names in that time span too. Bilal Muhammad, which was always a good win. I know that he's gone on a run recently, but I always thought he was pretty good. I never thought he'd be ranked this high. I never thought Luque would be ranked this high either, but Bilal Muhammad's always been a good fighter. He's always been a good win. Against Nico Price, manages to take him down a few times and gets the ground and pound knockout in round two. It's a Nico Price fight, so it's never easy, but he gets it done. He gets it done fairly easy, I would say. And then against Mike Perry, I think this was a fight that really leveled Geoff Neal up. Perry was still, I think he had 3 more fights in the UFC after this one, so he was still a name that people regarded highly. And yeah, he's kind of just square. He got caught with that beautiful head kick and gets finished in the first round. And I think the reason why I overlooked Geoff Neal was because I'm looking at these wins over Mike Perry and Nico Price, and both of these guys are beatable. They tend to lose fights. I think they've been a little bit overrated in the past. I mean, I was as big a Nico Price fan as anybody, but he doesn't fight very smart at all. So I don't necessarily value a win over him all that highly. I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong, but it is what it is. And then against Wonderboy, he does well in the first round. Then he kind of takes over. Against Neil Magny, I'm tripping. I thought that Neil won that fight, but yeah, I thought that Magny would get that one done. Magny's just like a grizzled vet, and he wins the split decision over Santiago Ponzinibbio this past December, who still has game for sure. He takes a while to get going, and I don't know. He's definitely not like a top 10 talent anymore, I wouldn't say, but he's definitely a dog. And if he comes in motivated, he's very good. But he kind of just took a little while to get going there. It was very close, man. I think the right decision was made. Clearly, round one for Geoff Neal. Round two was dicey, but I'd still give it to him. And then round three, Ponzinibbio looked pretty good. But stylistically, Geoff Neal is a southpaw, likes to control the center. He goes for power over volume for sure. He's got a nasty left that he hides very well. It comes out of nowhere and it does absolute damage when he lands it. He's got good kicking game, but the one thing that worried me about him in the past was I just worry about, like, I know he got arrested for something at one point last year, and there was an article about how he like didn't have money, and like, people like to do the whole like, oh, evil Dana just doesn't pay the fighters, which, like, I'm not even gonna get into that, but there's just a certain element of people who they have their narrative, and there's a very political subtext to it. So I remember seeing that article, and it's just like, oh, Geoff Neal is just being fucked over by the UFC. They're not paying him anything. He has to wait tables. And I'm just looking at that as like, why does Geoff Neal not have money? Like, is there something going on in his personal life? Like, I don't know. And I'm not trying to speculate, but we're trying to make money here. So I've always wondered like what's kind of going on there. And but again, I've overlooked this guy in the past, I feel like, and he's definitely a beast. He's got a ton of power, and he's definitely live in this fight against Vicente Luque, who, one of the more underappreciated. He's got to be one of the better welterweights ever, man. This guy has so many finishes. Like, you don't think of Vicente Luque as like a top dog welterweight of all time, but I mean, this guy has so many finishes against top tier competition too. He had won like 6 or 7 in a row, I believe, going into that Wonderboy fight. He had won 5 in a row going into the Wonderboy fight, and no, 6. I was right. And then he gets outclassed, And he did, I think he lost the Mike Perry fight, man. I've said this before. I think that the flattened nose really fucked Perry over in that one. That's the fight where Perry's nose was just completely like pushed in, and I think that that did not do well optics wise. Perry fought a very good fight against Vicente Luque though. But I mean, if we look at his losses, they've come to like the elite fighters. You know, Leon Edwards, Wonderboy Thompson, and his last time out, he loses to Bilal Muhammad. I did not see that coming. He just kind of got wrestle fucked. He was never really able to get going in that one. So we'll see if that is a factor. But with Vicente Luque, very good Muay Thai style. And he has the most Darce chokes in UFC history, I believe. So he's always live with that. So he's good in both realms, but primarily striking. He is quite hittable, but he takes so much damage. It seems like, but he just always seems to win these exchanges. He will take one to give one and land the heavier shot. Again, just so hard to put Vicente Luque away. He puts most of his opponents away. But I think that what this is going to come down to is just it's going to come down to volume. I think both guys are tough, and I don't think we look at the odds here. We got Vicente Luque at -190, Geoff Neal coming back at +160, and I've seen some people picking Geoff Neal, and I understand that, but like I'll just tell you this, I faded Vicente Luque at one point. I picked Nico Price to beat him in the second matchup, which was an absolutely awesome fight. I watched that one this weekend. Whenever I have the opportunity to watch that one for a tape study, I'll watch it. It's one of my favorite fights, low key. It was the first card back after COVID, so you can hear a pin drop. Really fun fight, man. He almost lost that one, too. Nico Price had him in a Darce, but then DC fucking yells it out that he's in a Darce. Or Bisping, one of those retards, yells out that he's in a Darce, and he gets out of it. So he almost lost to Nico Price, too. But with Vicente Luque, you kind of just need heavy volume to put him away, and I just don't see Geoff Neal having that kind of volume. At -190, I don't love it, but I got to go with Vicente Luque because back to what I was saying about fading him in the past, I think if you're going to fade Vicente Luque, your angle would be that he's taken so much damage in his career that the chin has to fall apart at some point. I've made that call before. I don't see that happening. I don't think that Geoff Neal has enough volume to really get it done against Luque. I think Luque will take his best shot and he'll just land more volume, and I think he'll win this fight probably by decision. I'll give Geoff Neal that. I don't think he'll get knocked out, but I don't even know if I'm gonna bet on this fight, man, because I just said all the factors why I don't want to fade Luque. I think he's a beast, and I love getting him in this range. You used to be able to get him in this range all the time. Now it's like the odds are kind of juiced. Like in the last fight, they were juiced. They're a little husky here against Geoff Neal, who's a beast, but I'm just gonna bank on Vicente Luque's all around game and volume being able to best the power advantage that Geoff Neal might have.